Okay, this is Oldecam.
And this is not a spring chicken. Today we're going to be talking about what? Elected officials.
Elected officials. I mean,
you're going, how boring does that sound?
Well, you've got elected, anybody remember this great statement from the President of the United States during the health care bit? We won the election, we make the rules.
See, part of it is a lot of times you put elected officials in. Actually, when they're campaigning, right, they tell you what they think you want to hear.
Yeah.
Right? Because they want to get elected.
Yeah, but, if you listen carefully to Barack Obama, he's a contrarian. He will tell you the truth. He'll tell you, I don't want to raise taxes. He raises taxes. He'll tell you, I believe in the sanctity of marriage, and then say that marriage is not, there is no sanctity of marriage. He'll tell you that I'm for outreach with the other party, and then he has nothing to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he'll tell you exactly what he's going to do. I mean, right now, we have the Democratic Party massively lost the election, really lost the election in 2010. And they have decided, with the help of the President of the United States and his Political Action Committee, which is www.barackobama.com, which means he actually doesn't know what's being done. He has, his White House has said, he has no knowledge of intervention into any of these union things across the United States by his organization,
really?
Which his name is at the top of.
Well, you know, part of it is wasn't he elected President of the United States?
Oh yeah, he was elected. Okay, the way it works is, I mean, I've heard people that basically don't like the man. Okay, they like the man personally. I mean, as I understand it, I keep telling people, I understand that if this guy is one hell of a neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
You mean, this is a guy you want in your neighborhood. You know, very loving with his children, a great family man. He is everything that this country stands for is in Barack Obama. But as President of the United States, he's totally and absolutely different than the person you want as your neighbor. Nobody would want to have this president living next door to you.
Mm-hmm.
The left doesn't like him, the right doesn't like him, and the independents don't like him.
See, usually, I mean, people have heard enough about politicians that they get kind of like, they hope that what they're saying they want to believe in, but they know that they're all saying it just for them,
yeah.
Right? And it's not unusual for people to feel a little slighted by their elected officials because, wait a minute, they represented us. They don't represent the Democratic Party, the Republican Party. They're supposed to represent the people in our district that elected them.
Yeah,
well,
it's the same thing.
It's not uncommon.
If you elect a congressman, you elect the congressman to do the bidding of your district. If you elect a senator, it's to do the bidding of your state. It is not to go to Washington, D.C. and do the bidding of the teachers' union or the gay rights union or the anti-war coalition. No, you're elected to represent the viewpoints of your state. And the president was elected, for instance, for the whole nation, but the Democratic Party and the president simply have forgotten who elected them.
Well, sometimes, I mean, people are saying, oh yeah, I represent that district, but I have to be loyal to my supporters.
But their supporters is the district.
Oh, yeah.
That's the trick. The people that elect them. It's just like Scott Brown is on the way out as the senator in Massachusetts. He's probably going to have to run as a Democrat because if you listen how Scott Brown is doing, he's talking about how he admires Edward Kennedy a lot.
Oh, he is.
He's also now talking about he was abused and mistreated. You know, all the things that Democrats talk about to get elected in a state. But the problem is Massachusetts is starting to slip to the red side.
Mm-hmm.
The Tea Party basically regrets ever nominating Scott Brown because he basically did not. I mean, it's one of these things, if you got a spending bill, Brown will go for it with Obama.
Golly, he sure sounds like some other officials, doesn't he?
Yeah. No, Republicans are just as guilty. Okay, the Republican Party has found out that the Tea Party played really well with a lot of power. They're already talking about canning people that they elected because they all of a sudden became Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they didn't elect them to become Democrats, which means they elected you like, well, we're going to cut about $10 billion out of the budget. Mm-hmm. The gap is $1.5 trillion
mm-hmm.
and $10 billion. Well, then the Tea Party forced them. We're going to cut $61 billion out. The budget gap is $1.5 trillion. You could cut $61 billion out till hell freezes over and never. You don't pay the interest. The interest is like $233 billion a year on his borrowing.
Mm-hmm.
$61 billion isn't going to come. It won't even pay the. You know, it's a little less than a quarter of the interest it pays. So, you know, nobody is listening to the people. We had this morning, okay, we found out this morning the President of the United States has got a catch and release program with Somali pirates.
I know, who would have thought of that?
Yeah, because he doesn't want to deal with it. He doesn't want to deal with the illegal immigration because he needs those people in this country, so they got to catch and release with them. But, just a few minutes ago, in basically attacking everyone in the country that elected this man to office. I mean, you got to hear black ministers. I've never heard so many four-letter words coming out of a black minister's mouth about a president. You know, and you got Jimmy Carter dancing on the top of the desk in Plains, Georgia, because he's now no longer going to be listed as the worst president. The President of the United States has decided to stand against the entire nation and Bill Clinton on the Defense of Marriage Act. He has decided that it's unconstitutional, it should be repealed. And if the Supreme Court doesn't do it, he's prepared to do it by executive order, as I understand.
Ew.
Which basically makes marriage between a man and a 6-year-old legal in this country now, if he repeals it. Because in his opinion, that two people that love one, he said not people, he said two that love one another should be allowed, no, those that love one another should be allowed to marry one another.
Oh.
Who are those? Is those human? Or is that mean a man and his plastic dog?
Because I love Monty Bubbles.
Yeah,
I could get married to my dog. You could get married to your dog, or your horse, your cat. Because this is what it goes into. The thing is, he needs black voters to get elected. Black voters do not support gay rights. He needs Latino voters to get elected. Latino voters do not support. You know who swings the election in almost every state against gay rights? Who?
The black voters. Oh. They are the most, here's a good one. They are ungodly liberal until it comes to religion. And then they're the most conservative people on the face of this planet. I mean, they may stand in a welfare line to get money from somebody. But if you tell that person, well, I think your daughter should be I think your daughter should be married to this person over here because that's the way we got to do it in this country now. And, you know, they'll basically kick your ass. You know, or tell them, well, you can't go to this Christian church because we think you should be a Muslim now. Yeah, that's not going to go over well. It's why they're, you know, so it's but he and like the latest thing too, the latest craze is. It's on a steamroll. Every single state in this nation where the Democrats lost both houses and the governorship, they're walking out of the proceedings in the Senate and the House in order to stop any voting from being done, to undo the spending that they've spent their lifetime doing. That's democracy. They say this is democracy in action. Democracy is facing up to the people that, you know, in the other chambers. You know, your opposition. Your democracy is not. We're going to stay in this. We're going to stay in Chicago, Illinois, until the Republicans give in to our demands, which are to raise taxes on everybody, so that we can pay this 10% of the people who stay in jobs. Yeah, next week they're going to fire those people. Republicans. Here's the thing well, there's going to be a public outrage against what the Republicans are doing. Well, no. When you're sitting there in a luxurious hotel on the taxpayer's dollar, running up big bills on the taxpayers, and you're doing this for them, yeah, or you're giving a guy a pension that he doesn't have to pay any money into.
I know.
And you're doing it for the taxpayer. Well, and then they got the worst god-awful education system in the United States in Milwaukee, according to all the statistics.
They do?
And we are standing up because it will give us better teachers if we keep this. And then like one guy said, oh God, help us. I mean, if we do that and we get, no, this is what we get, fire all of them and start over again. This is what it is. I mean, when Not a Spring Chick is not old, you know, she's not old enough to remember when unions didn't have these bargaining rights. You were not allowed to do this stuff in a public sector union. It was not allowed. It started when Jerry Brown in California started coming in. They started giving public sector unions all of these perks, which they knew god awful had no money to pay. It couldn't be done. It's a pyramid scheme. You have to have more people working in order to pay the stuff for the people down here. And what happens is it has nothing to do with the economy going bad, because there are parts in our nation where the economy hasn't went bad. But the public sector things are so high, the states are in massive debt because they can't pay the pension plans. Isn't that good?
Real good.
Yeah, but that's just what happens. Like I said, we have a president that forgot his oath of office. The president and I, we got an attorney general that thinks white people should be punished for crimes, no matter if they did it or not, and black people shouldn't. We have a House of Representatives ran by people on the right that are hung up on abortion rights instead of getting jobs. We have a Senate on the left that basically only wants to spend money and not cut money. We have local houses and senates that are elected by the people to stop spending money and to crack down on unions that are basically being shut down by mob rule.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
I know.
And she probably, I bet you never thought in your lifetime you'd see anything like this in our nation.
Actually, no. It reminds me of going back to the '60s with the civil rights movements and things.
Yeah, I said 50 years ago. I was in that era, so
I remember seeing it on TV and
my better.
Well, actually, not on TV. It's like tape delayed.
Yeah.
You know, like many years later in
many
history
years
books.
Well, she wasn't around during that. That was an impossible.
I just remember hearing about things.
But my so-called better half was. She was.
They said, remember the civil rights errors of Martin Luther King, and then they show you pictures. Okay. Remember JFK.
Okay, JFK sided more with the Republicans than he did with the liberal Democrats, which pissed off his father, the Democrats. The civil rights movement only existed because the Republicans, the Democrats fought. Those are southern states. In those days, the Democrats controlled the South. The Republicans didn't. You know why it become red?
No,
because
why?
They were so blue that they were stepping on everybody's rights under the sun. Jim Crow is from the South, folks. They were not Republican states. The Republicans got kicked out of the states. You know, when the black voters got the vote, they kicked the Republicans out. Who give the black voters the vote? Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
Who gave them the Civil Rights Act? The Republicans. Who got the Disabilities Act in? The Republicans. Who got the Equal Rights Amendment in? The Republicans. Because the Democrats fought tooth and nail against all of them.
Oh.
Isn't that a good one?
Oh.
And those were politicians that were elected to not do that. You know, Supreme Court justices almost always vote against the party that puts them in power.
Mm-hmm.
You realize that most of the justices on the court were there by Republican.
Really?
Yeah. All of the social legislation everybody hates were found to be deemed, you know, not going far enough by Republican-appointed judges. Abortion rights came from Republican-appointed judges, not Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like they figure that the swing vote is a guy that basically, okay, David Souter was a Republican-appointed judge.
Mm-hmm.
O'Connor was a Republican-appointed one. I mean, so because Republicans tend to be two-term presidents, Democrats one.
Mm.
So, but it's just amazing that no politicians today they all as soon as they become elected to office they forget why they were elected to office. It says ultimate power corrupts ultimately. And then well here's a good one from Mark Twain. When do you know a politician is lying? As soon as he opens his mouth.
No, never heard that one before.
Yeah. But we told people 2 years ago that this president was going to not go down without a fight on his next election. I mean, he cannot possibly get elected. He's pissed off everybody.
Yeah, but you know, part of it is they said that before, and look who was elected president.
Yeah, well, they elected him president because they didn't like George Bush. Now George Bush is on one of on some of the most admired lists because of the things he did. You realize that the boom days in the automobile industry and in the housing industry were under George Bush, and under Obama the car industry, they said, we will never return to the days of auto sales and consumer electronic sales as they were under Bush.
Mm-hmm.
The market will never be as good as it was under Bush. House construction will never be as good as it was under Bush. You'll never have as many rights as you did under Bush. They're not talking about Obama, folks.
Mm-hmm.
There's no talk about Obama being listed on any scholar's thing other than people on the left as being a great president now. Remember, you're going to lose your internet because of Bush. Because
well, you know, actually today, one of the best examples of healthcare. And they were showing this, you know, because you've heard about, oh, the British system. Well, this is one of the things that was happening in Canada, which was they wanted to pull the plug. So
the Canadian medical system ordered a family to sign a document to kill their own kid.
I know.
You know, and because the family wouldn't order it, they're holding the family in contempt and are going to appoint a guardianship of one of the doctors so the plug will be pulled. And they're appealing to the United States. And the United States, our officials are doing nothing because, well, that's not going to ever happen in this country. What they want to do is to bring the kid to this country and let the child die at home. They want to take him off the respirator and die at home. What is so big a deal about that? Well, because it's going to cost money to supply medicine until he dies.
I know.
And they don't want to pay for the bills. And Obama, well, we can't have those people coming to this nation and usurping the laws of Canada. Mm-hmm. So, you know, what's a life worth? Mm-hmm. If your family, you know, my grandmother said, "What's a life worth?" And she said, "As much as you are willing to pay for it." Not the government, but as much as you are willing to pay for it. And a family that's willing to give up everything they have so that their child can die peaceably on its own terms. You admire those people. You don't admire a bureaucrat who doesn't know anything. Well, I don't give a damn what these people's feelings are. They don't. Their quality of life that's not included into Obamacare. Quality of life is irrelevant. Okay, they'll pull the plug on me. Mm-hmm. I mean, they say the Republicans are going to pull the plug on on my granny. Well, no, Obama would pull the plug on your granny. Mm-hmm. He would pull the plug on me in 10 seconds on Obamacare because of my age. And she basically, she'll reach the age soon, that they'd pull the plug on her too, because only if you're young and you're over a certain age, you're just not, get out of the way and let the other people hit it. See, Obama is now officially in the age category. They would pull the plug on him.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, not that he would ever really have to worry about that, because as being president and later on as former president,
he'll have private medical care no matter what.
It doesn't make a difference.
Does anybody see any elected Democrat jumping over to Obamacare? Not a one.
No, but we do see elected Democrats like exiting their state so they don't have to vote.
Yeah.
Which sounds really.
So it
sounds really ridiculous. I mean, every time I hear that, I laugh.
And remember, the first thing that politicians always do before they sign off on a document is to exempt themselves from the law.
Actually, isn't that one of the standard laws for Congress anyway?
Yeah.
Because the reason it was put in there was so that they don't benefit from the law, but how it's been utilized.
They all benefit from the laws, because what you do is you pass a law that benefits people that are your constituents or that are campaign donators. Mm-hmm. And this is what they've got to get rid of. I mean, I'm going to have the most lobby-free administration in history. I think half of Obama's cabinet is lobbied. Oh, I got you a good one. This one I found out yesterday also on the news. In the first 2 years of the Obama presidency, he never even met with 6 of his cabinet heads. They had no communication with the White House in 2 years. 6 cabinet heads.
Really?
Yeah, but the head of the AFL-CIO would meet with the White House, at least talk twice a week, and talk to the White House on a daily basis.
See, that stuff sounds really kind of odd.
Yeah, 6 cabinet heads that did not meet with the president, with the White House for 2 years. No communication.
That's...
Because they said that it's why he does what he does, because he only listens to an inner circle. I think the inner circle starts with the woman laying next to him in bed at night.
Well, doesn't it typically?
Yeah.
And it's not just Obama, it's just presidents. I mean, look at Bill Clinton. You think Bill Clinton didn't listen to Hillary? Come on.
No, but Michelle Obama is a woman.
She's a strong female.
She's a strong female that never was shut her mouth before he became president. And now she just generally goes out on these president wife things as her causes. That's not Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama is a kick-ass type person. Mm-hmm. That's her reputation. I mean, she never let anybody get away with anything. And,